Hey everyone, what's going on? This is Theodore from Ocean Giants or Voyage Discovery for my TikTok viewers, and as always, before we get started today, I would like to welcome all my new subscribers and thank everybody who has been leaving comments and messages down below on both platforms. I really appreciate it. And before we get into this topic, I would like to wish everybody a late happy Thanksgiving. And alright guys, in today's video, we will be talking about what the Titanic was like. She could be a cruise ship, a cargo ship, an ocean liner, just to name a few examples. But you guys will hopefully understand what the Titanic was. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. The story of the Titanic started before the ship was even built. In the late 1800s, there was a steamship company called the Norddeutsche Lloyd, or North German Lloyd Steamship Company, and they had just built a ship that was the biggest and the fastest at the time. The vessel was called Kaiser Wilhelm the Gross. You can see the ship is considered the first four-funnel ocean liner. And on her first voyage, she took the coveted Blue Ribbon. And you see the Blue Ribbon is an award given to the fastest liner on the Atlantic. So when this vessel did that, it took it from the Cunard Line's RMS Campania. And that was a severe blow to the British pride. So the Cunard Line built two new vessels called the RMS Lusitania and the RMS Mauretania. These two vessels became the biggest and the fastest in the world. And see, this is where the story of the Titanic comes in. There's a legend out there in the Titanic community that could be true, but honestly, I don't know. But the legend goes that supposedly at a dinner party between Lord Perry of Harland and Wolff, shipyard of Belfast, Ireland, and J. Bruce Esmond, chairman of the White Star Line, dined at the Perry's home in the summer of 1907. After dinner and over cigars and brandy, they discussed the Lusitania and the Mauretania. And they came up with a plan to build three sister ships, the best of the Cunard Line. And as I said, we don't know if it's true, but take what I say with a grain of salt, because the legend is just a legend. We don't know. We just honestly, there's no enough proof that exists to let us know if it's true. These three ships were so big that there wasn't a big enough gantry in the world to house them, and so Harland and Wolff had to destroy three older gantries and replace them with two giant gantries. And the first vessel's keel was laid down on the 16th of December 1908. She was known as hull number 400. She will be named the RMS Olympic. And the second vessel's keel was laid down on Wednesday, March 31st, 1909. She was known as hull number 401. She will be later named Titanic. These two vessels were part of a class of ships called the Olympic class. They were 882 feet long, nearly 100 feet longer than the RMS Mauretania and Lusitania. They were 92 feet wide and had four funnels like the Atlantic Greyhounds. And they also weighed a lot heavier. For example, when Olympic was completed, she weighed 45,324 gross tons. That's a heavy vessel. Compared to Lusitania's 31,550 gross tons. See, the Olympic was a heavy ship. It was a bigger ship than the Lusitania. But they were not built for speed. They were built with comfort and luxury in mind. And a few years later, the Titanic was launched. On May 31st, 1911, at 12:13 p.m., you see the White Star Line that wanted to launch her on the same day the RMS Olympic was leaving Belfast to start her maiden voyage. So it was a big day for the White Star Line. Titanic's launch was witnessed by 100,000 spectators. And the White Star Line didn't christen their ships. So basically, they didn't break a bottle of alcohol on the bow, but they did use fireworks to warn other ships to stay out of the way of the launch. So it took 60 seconds for her to hit the water at the Belfast Lough. And once she hit the water, Titanic was the biggest floating man-made vessel on the planet. But you have to remember that the Titanic was an empty shell at this point. She doesn't even have her engines. And another thing you have to remember, that the Olympic was the same size as Titanic. I can hear you guys saying in the comments, what do you mean, Theodore? How is Titanic bigger than the Olympic if they were the same size? Here, let me explain. After Titanic was fitted out, she weighed 1,000 tons heavier than the Olympic because of the improvements that were made to her. You see, Thomas Andrews, the chief designer of the Olympic class, noticed that on the Olympic main voyage, that passengers weren't really using the open B-deck promenade. So Thomas Andrews used this space on Titanic for something else. For example, he put more first-class cabins around. Like the Isaac Strauss cabin that they were using, that Isidore used on Titanic's maiden voyage. And there's another cabin that was similar to that on the port side that J. Bruce Ismay used for when he was on the board. And not only that, they had their own little private promenade, like you see in the James Cameron film. You see how when Cal did his stuff to Rose, that was on their private promenade, so nobody else could see stuff they made. And he also used the space for the Café Parisien, which is the only Café Parisien that was aboard all Olympic class vessels. Olympic didn't even have it. And also they enclosed Titanic's A-deck promenade. So Olympic, sorry, this is my Titanic model, but the Olympic didn't have the enclosed A-deck. All her A-deck promenade was open to the weather. Well, on Titanic, see how it's big areas here is open and it's enclosed here. It's all windows. Thomas Andrews decided that, well, it'd be a lot safer, make the passenger safer and drier if he enclosed half of the promenade for the safety of the weather. For example, on rainy days, they can go at the enclosed part of the promenade, not the open. If it's Sunday, they can go both. So basically the promenade was something we used back in the day. So you see now why the Titanic was heavier than the Olympic. So that brought Titanic up to an eye-watering 46,328 gross tons and a displacement of 52,000 gross tons. So now you understand how Titanic was heavier than our sister Olympic. And let me add another thing. The Titanic was an ocean liner built to build profit off the immigrant trade. Basically, immigrant trade was when people from different countries wanted to go to the United States to start a new life. And like Ireland, England, Australia, and Germany, for name a few examples. And now you guys know what the Titanic was. Anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And leave comments down below. I would really love to hear you guys' thoughts on the video. And alright, guys, I'll see you in the next official Ocean Giants video. Take care, everybody.